Oh, hello, this is Tak Chung from Walk with Tak. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. In this video, I would like to demonstrate to you how to actually create a new dish using my fast cooking system. And the word fast is flavor chasing, advanced prepping, stir-frying, and templates-based cooking. And using these 4 attributes, I can cook almost anything I want. And more importantly, I can continue to improve my cooking by creating new cooking methods, new seasoning strategies, and new ingredient combination. Because this dish is based on the modifications of existing template, I have a pretty good idea how it is going to turn out. So I know most of the time this experiment is going to be a success. This is a salmon stir-fry dish with mushroom, colored bell pepper, scallions, and tomatoes. This is a dish that I have never cooked in this way before. So for me, this is truly a new creation. The first significant change in making this dish is the advanced prepping. I always purchase salmon that have never been frozen because this is the best quality of the salmon. However, I quite often cannot use all of them quickly enough, and that to prevent them from going bad. And usually, I have to use the salmon in about 3 or 4 days after I bought them back from the supermarket. Now, in the past, when I purchase fresh salmon from the store, when I take it home, I will cut them up into small chunks, and I will cook them like that. Now, small chunks has a lot of advantage because it allows me to cook them faster. However, to freeze them like this will not work from my standpoint because it would take too long for it to thaw out. And if I want to able to go in the kitchen and have a meal on the table in less than 30 minutes, this will not work, because it would take me at least about 20 minutes to thaw out the salmon in a bowl of water. And therefore, the most effective way for me to accomplish this is to slice the salmon, particularly the thick portion of the salmon. So when I freeze them, they will freeze in such a configuration, just like I would freeze chicken that has been sliced. They will provide the maximum surface area for it to in contact with water when I'm thawing it out. So the end result is that I can thaw out 8 ounces of salmon from the freezer and ready to be used for frying in less than 10 minutes. So here, as you can see, the salmon has been cut in very thin slices, and they actually thawed out in a bowl of lukewarm water in less than 10 minutes. Therefore, I can always have salmon available in the freezer, and I can make use of them anytime I want. This way, I will not be restricted by the expiration date of the salmon when I take them back from the store and keep them in the refrigerator. Since the larger pieces of salmon is always cheaper, therefore I can save money by using this approach. By prepping the salmon in advance, this represents a significant change to the cooking method. Now the salmon is in thinner pieces. I want to make sure it will taste still the same as I have done it before in thicker pieces. Now, my wife loves salmon, and I know she'll be the first one to tell me that if the salmon does not taste quite right when I cook them in these thinner pieces. By having the salmon cut in thinner pieces has other advantages in addition to be able to thaw them out faster, because this will also allow me to cook them faster as well. Both my wife and I love this way to cook the salmon, and the main reason is because the skin of the salmon. The main feature of this method is to fry the skin of the salmon to a crispy texture. Now, most people do not like salmon skin because they tend to be a little bit fat and oily, and they are not great tasting. However, when you fry them to a crispy texture, it makes the salmon taste much better. In fact, now the skin of the salmon is actually become the attraction of the salmon. In fact, for me, this is the game changer for my preference for the salmon. I used to not like salmon that much, mainly because of the skin. But now the skin become the best part of the salmon to me. This is a good demonstration how the change in the cooking method can make a profound difference in terms of how a food ingredients taste to a person. So the first thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to season the wok with my spot seasoning method. This will make sure that I will have a non-stick cooked surface. The method that I use here to fry the salmon is frequently known as shallow frying. Basically, it is very similar to deep frying, except I fry one side of the salmon first, and then I turn them over to fry the other side. The reason that I fry the one side first is because I'm going to fry the side with the skin first. This will allow me to achieve a crispy texture. And this also will allow me to have a better control to make sure that I char the skin of the salmon sufficiently that will drive out the oil under the skin and create a crispy texture of the skin. Now, by cutting the salmon into thin slices has many advantages. The first most important advantage is that it will cook the salmon faster because the salmon is thinner, so it takes less time to cook. But the other advantage is that the evenness of the salmon that is being cooked, because now all the pieces of the salmon is about same thickness. As in contrast, if I take the whole salmon portion and fry it, or I fry them in chunks, the thicker salmon will take longer to fry than the thinner portion. Because if you look at a regular salmon portion, the center part of the salmon is thicker, and whereas the edge of the salmon is much thinner. Now, if you fry the whole salmon as a complete piece without cutting it apart, you have even more a distinction of how one part of the salmon will cook properly, but the other part of the salmon will be either overcooked or undercooked. So clearly, without any questions, by slicing the salmon thinner, there are many advantages in terms of the cooking standpoint. And of course, now the critical measure is that how would they taste? In less than about a minute, I'm ready to flip the salmon piece over because the other side of the salmons are already been charred. As you can see that it has dried out the oil underneath the skin, and in many ways it caused the skin to take on this beautiful crispy texture. And this crispy texture is in many ways that really to me is a game changer to make salmon much more tasty than compared to without this crispy skin. I don't know what's the best way to describe this to you, why this tastes so wonderful. And I think probably the nearest description I can provide is that they taste like a hamburger, that the side of the hamburger has been crisp, but not burnt, just enough to be crisp to give a great flavor. Next, I add some chopped jalapeno pepper after I turn the salmon over to fry the other side. You notice that there's a lot of oil in the bottom of the wok, and it also turned a yellow color. This represents the oil that has been extracted from the skin of the salmon. Next, I add some portobello mushroom to the wok. You'll probably ask the question, why did you add mushroom? That is an important reason by adding the mushroom to the wok. Because mushroom loves oil, it will soak up the oil like a sponge. And we should not waste this oil because these are considered to be healthy oil. The reason is simple, because a salmon is rich in omega-3 fatty acids. This is an essential oil that will promote many aspects of our health, including our brain health. Next, I'm going to add some color bell pepper. Not too much, just a little bit. And the color bell pepper will give a different texture to the dish and make the dish far more interesting. But also, the color bell pepper will make the dish more beautiful with vibrant color. The final step is that I'm going to add about 1 tablespoon of oyster sauce. This will give every ingredient in the dish a more robust umami flavor, because this is what oyster sauce is good for. A few quick stir, the dish is done. And the cook time is only about 6 minutes. Everything in this dish is designed to maximize the combination of the salmon with the mushroom and the pepper, and together the whole of the dish is much greater than the sum. If you look at this dish, the flavor is all fresh, vibrant, and exciting. It is a dish that you probably only can get at a high-end restaurant. And by first shallow fry the salmon, it provides the salmon the integrity. So therefore, when you stir fry it, it will not fall apart. But by stir frying the salmon with the mushroom and the pepper, it provides this totality of flavor that by themselves alone is unable to achieve. Next, I garnish the salmon with some fresh tomatoes. I garnish it with some green onions. This is followed by a touch of a chili sweet sauce. This dish turned out to be highly creative because of template-based cooking, by making modification to the template to achieve an entirely new dish. I post a video each day to help you to make home cooking practical, efficient, creative, and fun using my fast cooking system. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you want to learn more about this cooking system. So keep on cooking. I will see you tomorrow.